Hello and welcome back to the Warcraft radio coverage of the Shadowlands Alpha. My name is Kexman, and today we're taking a look at the quest Dread Priming and the subsequent quests from that. These are an interesting set of quests in Revendreth because it's the first chance that we get to see the way that the Revendreth prep their souls, similar to the quests that we had in Bastion, where we were letting people and helping them in let go of their past, let go of how they felt about their previous lives so that they could become Kyrian and later on ascend. This, however, is very different. It is focused around this NPC here, King Adagar, and the first thing that we do is we have their sins read to them. Now, these sins sound like something we would see anywhere on Earth or even anywhere on Azeroth, but it's a name that we don't recognise. It mentions sending hounds after villagers because they haven't paid their leisure tax. It's odd that this is a name we haven't heard because, again, it just puts fire to the theory that there are millions of worlds out there that we may not have heard of in the world of Warcraft. Of course, as part of the first punishment, very, very similar to what he did with his own villagers, we are taking him through a gauntlet of Gargon, which appear to be these bear-type creatures, almost like a cross between a bear and a gargoyle, and it's what we use to sort of tear him down slightly. It does seem as though Revendreth is very heavily focused on tearing them down until they are absolutely nothing, so that they may be rebuilt. And a similar thing happens in Bastion, where obviously you do take away how they felt previously, you take away their fears, you take away their memories, but this is done in a very, very different way, as you can see here. Instead of focusing on their fears in regards to their past, we're mainly focusing on their sins. And anima seems to play a big part of this. There are two quests, basically one after the other, where we drain anima from them using these bats, and it seems very akin to almost torture, which is separate from the way Bastion did things. Bastion was almost a very heavenly setting. You were using calming bells to help extract the thoughts and the memories. Whilst the actual experience itself may have not been calming, it definitely seems a lot more calming than it does here. And as we go on to see, they almost use these souls as bait. They almost use them as tools. So once we've killed a couple of these bats here, we then move on to the alpha bat, and this has been a problem for the people in this area in Revendreth for quite a while. So what we do is, King Adagar has a lot of anima that he may possess, and he doesn't quite yet seem to be repentant from his sins, so why not use him as a tool so we can kill two birds with one stone? Almost literally. And there's a really strange juxtaposition where they obviously talk about these souls and tearing them down to almost nothing and then building them back up as a way of almost sort of saying we are doing good work here, and then doing something like this. It seems as though they are doing a bad thing for the right reason. Again, we haven't had this 100% confirmed because we haven't visited the other zones in Shadowlands yet. We've seen how it happens in Bastion, but again, this may be an entirely different way of doing things in Ardenweld as well as in Maldraxxus. So we can only go on what we can see here, which does seem to be it's a very, very rough existence as you're learning to become a Venthyr as a soul in Revendreth. Ding, by the way, I'd like to point out there was a ding there. The current level cap is 59, so this zone takes you from 57 to 59, 60-ish. So we're about a third of the way through the zone with this quest, and it's very well paced actually. This seems to be the first time you learn about this rather than being thrown in at the deep end in Bastion. You now get moved over to what appears to be an old hunting ritual. So what happens when they finally get torn down to a very, very basic soul and they're almost losing hope, you then hunt them to fully break them. This is a very, very simple design for this quest. You've got all the hunters standing around draining anima, but it looks very effective. If you can stand in the right place, you too can also fit perfectly with the stances around here. Once you've taken the anima, you infuse it into the Gargons. Almost seems to be a way of catching the scent of these souls that they are supposed to hunt. Once that is all complete, the hunt can begin, and we can finally start on building these souls anew in Revendreth. Is this going to be successful for them? There's only one way to find out. We blow the horn, and we see exactly what happens. Thank you for joining me today. My name has been Kexman, and I'll see you with more Warcraft Radio Shadowlands Alpha coverage soon.